¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás hoy? Hoy te traigo un libro de nuestros queridos Julia, Donaldson y Axel Scheffler, que ya parecen de la familia de la cantidad de libros que tenemos de ellos, y se llama The Snail and the Whale. La pregunta que te hago hoy es, The Snail, el caracol, escribe una cosa en una pizarra. Fíjate bien, porque luego comprobaremos a ver si lo has escuchado y sabes dónde, o sabes lo que escribe. Bien, si tienes el libro, ve a buscarlo y lee con nosotros. Soy Mónica, bienvenido a Peque Books. Today we're reading The Snail and the Whale, written by Julia Donaldson and illustrated by Axel Scheffler. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hit you right." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Right, wanted around the world." This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering eyes and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. And this is the tide slipping away. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to sea!" cried the snail. "I can't move on land. I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it!" she cried, and started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is a teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board, as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail! The teacher turns pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, hooray, as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Back to the dog and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering eyes and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sunk to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey blue humpback whale. ¿Qué tal? ¿Te gustó? Seguro. Ya lo sé que sí, estos libros son geniales. ¿Y viste lo que escribía o escuchaste lo que escribía el caracol en la pizarra? ¿Qué decía? Save the whale. Exacto, salva a la ballena. Y les manda el mensaje a los niños para que la vayan a salvar, ¿verdad? Claro. Bien, si te gustó el libro, recuerda comprarlo si puedes, que siempre está bien leerlo cuando te apetezca. Y no te olvides suscribirte al canal, compartir con tus amigos o darle al like. Muchas gracias por seguirnos. Nos vemos con el próximo cuento.